start with here is getting Torsten's take on driver pay right now. Lyft and Uber. I mean, it's clearly it's gone downhill. Upfront pricing's in a lot of markets. Some people don't. We've asked for it forever. Some people now don't like it.
I thought we had hit rock bottom a while ago, but they never cease to amaze me, those two companies. And I think with Risha coming in after 120 days, I mean, he's already told us he's focusing on the customer. So he wants to get back into the pricing game. Playing a competition with Uber when it comes to pricing is, I think, just dangerous for both, because it's a race to the bottom. Immediately Uber counters with 25-30% discounts, and the only true loser at the end of the day is the driver. So it's when we really thought it hit rock bottom, it even went another 10-15% below. Right now, I read the comments, I read the emails, a record number of people just can't make the numbers work anymore. So unless you're getting super creative, unless you're in a very hot pocket and a master cherry picker, you're in for slim pickings.
Yeah. I mean, and I don't know if do you think the onboarding rate is as crazy as it's always been, even with people coming onto the delivery platforms like they are? Like, are people really getting into rideshare at these type prices?
No, I think, I mean, they have a never-ending machine of a conveyor belt of recruiters, but even increasing that age to 25, which they've done in certain cities, is not going to help them. I mean, those 21 to 25-year-olds are suddenly gone. Those could have been students that really needed a little side hustle. So I don't think the numbers that they are giving us are true and accurate. I think they're inflating them. I don't think as many people are currently signing up with Uber and Lyft. Even if you'd spend a week working at these pay rates, I think you get very disheartened very quickly. It's just, there's UberX there's just not money there. There's
I mean,
no money.
we all wanted transparency. It's upfront pricing has transparency here. Are you happy with upfront?
I
mean, the theory of upfront is great.
The theory is great, but there are always so many hidden factors with Uber and Lyft. I mean, I don't think the drivers ever get the true picture. So as good as the intentions are, it's not working. To me, it's just not working, the whole upfront pricing. I mean, if at the bottom, the bottom line is, if you're an independent contractor, treat people like an independent contractor. There can't be all these conditions built in. We've spoken about this many a times. The true definition of a independent contractor, you shouldn't have to worry about your destination. If you want to pass on a destination and don't take that trip, if you want to pass on the pay that they're offering you, you should not have to suffer any consequences. So there's always these little punishments built in and timeouts built in. It's just not transparent, and I just don't see upfront pricing to be as transparent as they make it out to be. But that's my opinion.
David, what is your take on transparency here, real quick, or the upfront pricing? I mean,
I think the same thing is, like, it's a step in the right direction, where it's like, hey, at least they're going to tell you, what the deal is. But I sort of agree with what Torsten says. A step in the direction doesn't mean it's fully there where it needs to be. I do want to rewind to something that I think Torsten said at the beginning of the show, which is quite interesting to me, is the price war, right? So I participated in a price war when I worked at Uber, right? So at the time when we launched Las Vegas, we were one of the first profitable cities in the U.S., right? We're making 10 to 20% margin, and drivers are paid well. Where that stopped working was Lyft started offering 50% off. So when you're making 15% off and Lyft offers 50% off, it's sort of a race to the bottom. We ignored the race to the bottom, trying not to take the bait. But after 6 months, it worked, right? But the difference back then was the discount came out of Lyft's pocket, right? So it was an actual dollar discount paid to the consumer, not at the cost of the driver, right? That came out of Lyft's pocket, and that's how they
Correct.
burned all that money. And eventually we ended up taking the bait and, you know, price cuts and all of that. But like most of that subsidy was offered in a percentage off to the customer. I think with the way that the pricing set up now, there's a price war at the expense of the driver. So it's a whole different setup that's really not great.
And
Yeah.
and if I may add, you're 100% correct. If I may add to that, you know, in the beginning, there was a lot of money available to both companies. There were billions to be burned, you know, to incentivize trips to open up markets. They've burned through that money. So right now, the drivers are paying these discounts. It's coming out of drivers' pockets, and you just have to read the comments. You can go to any one of the channels and just read the comments. There's, I would say I've never seen frustration as high as it is at the moment.